everybody. We're the Game Birds. It's me, Alice, and this is Bree. Hi, Bree.
Hello.
And we are childhood friends from the Midwest, and we freaking love indie games. Bree, what are we playing today?
Today we are playing The Gardener and the Wild Vines, developed by Finite Reflection Studios. It was released in September of 2021. And price point, because this is always a sticking point, is $10. This game is a, puzzle platformer, I would say, primarily platformer. And full disclosure, I want to say this right off the bat. I do adjacently know the developers of this game. I don't know them personally. I know my partner. My partner is actually in the credits of this game as somebody who played it from the get-go. I guess I'll hop right into about why I picked it.
Yeah, what the heck? Why are you picking this? Other than you clearly know people who know people who know people.
Exactly. To be honest, when I was watching my partner play this on stream, I thought it was really fun. It looked really cute. I loved just the look of the game. And this is another genre that I'm not super familiar with. I don't play a lot of platformers here and there, but it's certainly not like my genre that I always go towards. And I like that it was, there's a quote in here somewhere about this game is very gay. Which is super fun. So it is LGBTQIA+, and it is just a cute little story about a gardener who desperately wants to tell his prince that he loves him. And unfortunately, the prince has been stolen by the quote-unquote evil magician and is hiding the prince away in towers. And the towers are popping up all over the place. So the gardener is climbing up these towers, hoping to find his prince at the top so he can finally confess his true love to him. And that is the main premise.
I was going to say, yeah, so it is definitely a platformer game. It is, interestingly, has 2D and 3D elements. So the characters themselves are drawn in a 2D, pixel art manner, but there is definitely a lot of 3D movement in this game. You are moving all around the towers as you are looking to climb up them to the top, like Bree said, to find the prince. If you're familiar with Mario, you might have heard the term, your princess is in another tower. In this case, it's a play on that. Your prince is often in another tower, and you have to keep climbing them to see if you could find them. The towers do get more and more interesting, introduces more and more mechanics over time. Very common for a platformer, but I do love that even though this genre is, been created 100 times over, it still feels fresh to me. I think the way this is built out with its sort of 2D, 3D elements and some of the cute mechanics themselves that play into the story or the environment, I just think still make it feel fresh, even for a platformer.
Yeah, absolutely. What I loved about this gameplay especially, again, just kind of speaking to the uniqueness, being a gardener, you have these little gardening shears with you, and that's what you use to climb up the tower. And how you do that is there's these little plants, and once you hit the plants, a vine grows to a leaf, and you jump on those to kind of progress. You can build combos by hitting those flowers in quick succession. Sometimes I don't recommend doing that because you can lose where you're going very quickly. I've never really seen this done like this before, and it is very addictive, very fun. The towers move constantly while you are hitting these flowers to kind of progress up the tower. Alice, we were talking in the pre-show a little bit about motion sickness with this game, and as I was playing it this time, I did notice the stage moves around quite a bit. My motion sickness is very situational, so I didn't experience that with this game, but Alice, you said that you did a little bit?
Yeah, so I actually am extremely sensitive to motion sickness, unfortunately. It's probably why I've continued to gravitate towards 2D games for my entire life. And I mean, even just watching other people play a 3D shooter, for instance, or if I try to play one, I get nauseous really easily. Unfortunately, this game, I can't play for long periods of time. I did try to turn off the screen effects and disable bloom and tried a couple things, but I don't really think those elements are really what's causing it. It is this sort of spinning around the tower as you climb it, and it's just constant movement. So I do unfortunately get a bit nauseous after a while playing this game. It is a little difficult for me. It's a cute game. I love playing it, and I have a lot of more things to say about it that I really enjoyed about it. But I would say if you are particularly sensitive to getting motion sickness from video games, this one might be difficult to play for a long period of time.
I had played this game previously when it first came out. I played it for about 4 hours, and then it's just one of those things I put down. I was having a good time with it. I just never beat it. And then picking it up again this time, that's something I noticed right away. Again, I didn't experience it right off the bat, but if I was even slightly nauseous, I feel like this would have amplified that. So it's just something to be mindful of if you are sensitive to that. But overall, I do love this game. Has a super quick tutorial, very small barrier to entry. You can hop right into it again, especially if you are not used to platformers like myself. This is one that is very accessible. There's a lot of fun features in terms of, again, the combos with hitting the flowers. You can do it like a bigger jump on the leaves that you land on. You can like stab your shears into the tower and fall down a little bit slower to kind of catch where you are. Because again, there's a couple times where I got a little disoriented because I did too many combos and I was like, wait, where am I on this tower? But I think that just kind of speaks to the fun and quickness of this gameplay. Very easy to learn, very quick to learn. And as the game progresses, it has more and more features and more challenges. They add like these little coconuts that you have to...
The coconuts!
Yes.
The coconuts are my favorite. I love the coconuts.
Yes, I thought that was super fun. It's funny because that was one of the small things I saw in some of the negative reviews. They're like, there's so many coconuts. And I was like, I think this is fun because I was like, I need to find a coconut somewhere. Oh, there's multiple coconuts? Okay, I better hang on to this. And there's like little crabs that you can run into. And along those lines as well, I just appreciate this as somebody who's like learning to play this game. There was a lot of health around. I think I only died like once or twice because I like ran myself into a crab on the wall like multiple times. But there was always health around, which was very nice. So it felt very accessible that I could continue on my journey and not feel discouraged by dying 100 times a minute.
And if you want to play casually, there is an invincible mode. If you really just don't want to, have any challenge for any reason, you can play in invincible mode. But I agree. Like, there's challenge to it, and it gets more and more challenging over time. Like, the ending tower is so freaking cool looking. But it's also accessible enough where it doesn't feel super frustrating. Like, a traditional Mario game is extremely frustrating in comparison to something like this.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know if we ever mentioned this before, because I think, Alice, I think you're the same, but like I did not grow up with like Nintendo consoles at all. So I am like not necessarily a Nintendo girly. So I feel like I had even less exposure to platformers outside of like the Mickey Mouse game that you and me played when we were growing up. But
we played Rayman. We played Rayman. Come on.
Yeah, that, you know what? You're right. You're right. We have been mainly talking about like the story mode, like the main mode of it, which I will say just like the aesthetic of this is very adorable. When the game starts, it's opening a storybook. And in the storybook is where you kind of can select your save slot. And it also tells you like how much you progressed in the game, which is very nice. So last time I only got to like 43%. This time I got to 58%. So full disclosure, I did not beat the game, but still enjoyed it very much. But I think you were mentioning a little bit before, there's a challenge mode as well. You can also just kind of go in and do different challenges. I believe a lot of the challenges have to do with like building combos and how quickly you can get up the tower. And those get unlocked the second you beat that level in the story mode. I feel like you could play this game for quite a while. I believe in general, this game is about 3 to 4 hours if you just kind of jetted through the main story. But there is, another 3 hours or so of challenges if you chose to do that?
Yeah, so there's 28 levels in total and 3 to 4 hours on those. And then they advertise another 2 to 3 hours if you're trying to 100% the challenge mode. And I guess if you're doing that, you must be also really good because you're doing it 100%. In 2 hours, getting all the levels, amazing. I don't think I could do it that quickly. I will say the levels are pretty short too. Like I actually kind of appreciate that it doesn't feel like I have to play a whole level for 30, 45 minutes an hour. Like you could really get that sense of satisfaction by getting to the top of the tower and moving on to the next level and feeling like you had a challenge, but not feeling frustrated. Like I feel like it has such a great pace to it that is really hard to make in a game, in my opinion. Like the feel of a game is difficult to capture. And I think this game maybe went through a lot of testing or just like the people who made it like to play it themselves. Cause like I feel like the amount of satisfaction you get out of it just, it's got that really Goldilocks and Three Bears-ness to it where everything just feels just right.
Yes, I super, super agree with that. We've mentioned this before, but I'm just like, I'm at a season of my life where like I can't really do long games. Like it's the reason why we haven't done Spiritfarer quite yet, even though we definitely will. But that is a longer commitment game. I love a game like this where I can just be like, okay, I have like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe I'll complete a level or two. And the way it's pretty much set up in every level is it's a top-down view. Where the top of the tower is, it pans all the way down to the bottom. You have a short little cutscene with the characters, and then you hop right into the level. Once you're at the top of the tower, we see if the prince is there or not, and then there's another small dialogue or cutscene, and then you proceed to the next tower after that.
I would love to talk real quick about some of the characters. There's not 100 different characters in this game. There's just a handful of characters who appear, and I just love the interactions and dialogue between all these characters. I think the writing is it's really cute and funny.
Yes, no, honestly, that is my absolute favorite thing about this game. Honestly, this game could have relied alone on the gameplay itself and like just the environment and everything like that. That's already very strong points to this. But the dialogue is really just like the icing on the cake for me. The gardener is this like super altruistic, goody, very sweet, hopeful guy. And he's so adorable. A note I wrote down because I thought it was so sweet. There's a knight that he runs into that is hoping to arrest him, but she kind of chooses a different path, and his concern is that he got her in trouble. Like that is his first thing. I don't know. I just think he's very sweet. He's very hopeful. He loves the prince so much. He is nice and kind to every single person that he interacts with. He's my favorite. I love him so much. But yes, his interaction with the knight is very hilarious. And then you meet a pirate character a little bit later, and they are the absolute funniest, to the point where something we didn't mention yet, but I do really love, the pronouns of the characters are always displayed, which I think is just a very nice small touch. And the pirate character even makes a joke about this and changes their pronouns in the middle of a cutscene at some point. I believe they originally go by they, them, but they do change it at some point. It is so sarcastic and funny and dry at some points. Like the humor is just, I was actually laughing out loud several times. Their interactions are just so funny. So not only did they put so much love and work into the actual, like, the visuals of the game and the gameplay mechanics, but the dialogue is so freaking good and cannot be, overlooked by any means.
Yeah, to give a little taste, one of the jokes that came up, two of the characters are sitting in a boat. One of them says to the other, "Where are we going?" And then a tower appears in the background. And then he says, "Well, that's narratively convenient." Like, it's very just straight, dry humor. But I think that also is what helps it not be so much dialogue. With this kind of humor, like, you can make a joke real quick. The punchline is straight there, really funny, and you're back into the gameplay right away.
I think that's exactly right. Because, yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome by any means. It's just like, again, it's a quick little cutscene that you get at the beginning of the level, and then another one at the very end. So you get just a taste of like these little bits of dialogue. Yeah, they are always hilarious, but also just like very sweet. It's just very tender, very adorable. Again, especially the way the gardener talks about the prince the whole time. Like in the first interaction where they're talking to each other, they're both blushing and he's like, "Oh my God, does my hair look okay?" It is just like they are so precious together. And the characters are such a strong part of this. And the dialogue and the interactions that they have with each other is just top notch all the way around.
One small side note, I was able to switch this to a dyslexic-friendly font off the bat. I know a lot of games have been doing that lately, but just calling out, this game does also have a dyslexic-friendly font in the settings, and I super love that. There's not a lot of dialogue in this game anyway, so it's not a big deal, but if there is a lot of dialogue, or if I do a lot of reading and the font gets in my way, I just don't end up reading half the time. So really appreciated that I was able to fully enjoy the dialogue in this game, not only because it was short and funny, but also because I could actually literally read the font.
That was a setting in the game, or that's something you had to do outside of it?
It's a setting in the game. Yeah, you can switch it in the game.
Oh, that's so, we love accessibility. That is an excellent thing.
At the end of the credits, they did make a note that they made this game during the global pandemic and worked really hard, but that they also called out that they took care of themselves throughout the development cycle to establish a healthy relationship with their work. And I just thought it was just like such a cute little thank you note at the end of the credits that was a great call out. I mean, obviously living in America, work-life balance is a struggle for lots of people. And so just another thing I really appreciated, just how not only wholesome the characters are, but clearly how wholesome and amazing the creators are as well.
Oh, I did not notice that, but that is so amazing. Especially, like, obviously all the time, bigger companies are working their teams to death and then letting them go. So it's just like knowing that they spent the time to make this really, really great game. There's so much love and heart put into it. And they took care of themselves at the same time. That makes me feel doubly good about playing it. And I did want to mention as well, I kind of like skirted over this earlier, but like one of the main reasons I picked this game is that, again, I was kind of watching it as it came out and they were so excited about it. And again, my partner played it on stream. And I was just like waiting for this game to blow up. I was like, man, it's going to be so cool to tell everybody that I was on the ground floor when this game came out. And I just feel like it never quite got the hype that I felt like it deserved. Outside of like the motion sickness thing, which is very valid if that is something you deal with, like outside of that, like I think this game is just so precious, so adorable. It has such a sweet, simple story. It is so inclusive in a lot of different ways. It is such fun gameplay. I really wanted to give this game just a small spotlight. The developers don't know that we're doing this. They will know once the episode goes up. Yeah, I just want to give them a little shout out just for being really cool people that I'm so happy to get even a small platform to platform their games because they're awesome.
Being indie devs, timing, luck, all of that stuff, like it's expensive to advertise and market. You're going up against all of these multi-million, billion-dollar companies that, you know, they can release 20 games a day on the Steam new hot releases list, and everyone else is just kind of like hoping for scraps of the spotlight. So it is definitely unfortunate that such a cute game didn't get as much spotlight as maybe it deserved. But hopefully people, you know, the nice thing too is it's never too late. And you never know. Hopefully, maybe some more people will pick it up. That does remind me that we had a note for the folks who have been listening and supporting this podcast so far. Have heard from some folks that they've actually bought some of the games we've talked about, and just wanted to like send out a huge thank you for everyone listening and supporting the indie devs of these games. Like, we mean it when we say we love indie games. Like, we're doing this for fun. We're doing this to bring spotlights to some of these really awesome games, and really appreciate anyone who takes the time to support these indie devs outside of this podcast as well.
I thank everyone for even giving us that feedback. We are always open to feedback. We're trying to improve this all the time. And I honestly, it was obviously our goal to put more of a spotlight on these games because we love them and we think they deserve as much support as possible. So the fact that some people have bought games because of the podcast is just like so cool. Like, we never imagined that. So even if it's just 1, 2, 3 people, that's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it just encourages us to keep on going. So thank you for that. But yeah. Any other final thoughts about Gardener and the Wild Vines?
Final thoughts, really cute game, really cute dialogue. Unfortunately for me, have trouble with motion sickness, but it didn't stop me from playing entirely, and really can't go wrong with this type of game.
And again, if you are not used to platformers, I would not be intimidated by this. I think you'll catch on very quickly. The tutorial is very helpful and very quick. I would recommend playing this with a controller. I have played it with a controller and keyboard and mouse. Controller is much, much easier. So I would definitely recommend that. It is a short, quick game with a lot of heart. I love the representation. We'd love to see more of that. And if that's something you're looking for, by all means, I hope you check this game out. I love it a lot, and I hope you love it even half as much as I do.
Sweet. Well, thanks for picking this game, Brie. It's my turn to pick next time, and I am picking actually a game that just came out. It's called Minami Lane. It should be a really quick and cozy one.
I'm excited for it. Sounds good.
We'll see you next time on the Game Birds.
Bye.